Bonjour everyone, today we're going to cover lesson 1.2, which is about your French Living Cert oral exam. So your French Living Cert oral exam is marked under 100 marks and is worth 25%. Your performance will be assessed under 4 categories. So we're going to have a look at the marking scheme. So the first skill you'll have to demonstrate is your pronunciation level, which is marked under 20 marks. Then we have the vocabulary, which is worth 20 marks also. In third, we have the structure, which is basically your grammar, and is marked under 30 marks. And finally, your communication skill will be marked under 30 marks as well. So for the oral exam, the first thing that you must know is that the French Living Cert oral exam is a conversation. It's literally a little chat. You have to prove to your examiner that you are able to have a chat for 10 minutes with a French native speaker. That's the context that the French department was working on when they created the French Living Cert oral exam. Okay, so let's have a look at the topics to prepare. In general, so you have moi-même, where you talk about yourself, your family, ma famille, ma maison, your house, mon quartier. You can be talking about ma maison and mon quartier at the same time. Mon école, your school, your passe-temps, your hobbies, your pastimes, what you like to do, if you have a passion. L'année prochaine, next year, what's your plan for next year? Are you planning to go to college? La fac, college. Mon petit boulot, part-time job or summer job that you had, if you ever had a little work experience as well. Mon meilleur ami, my best friend, etc. There's a list of topics that you will see in the whole section later on. You also have the option to bring a document. So a document is not compulsory, but you can look at the oral section topic for more details. So let's look at the pronunciation, which is 20 marks. It's very important that you take your time when you speak in French. A lot of you will be nervous and speak a bit faster than usual, but take your time. We don't want you to go to the oral exam and recite what you have learned because the exam is a conversation. So you have to be a bit more natural and authentic. Authenticity is key for the oral exam. So on the marking scheme, you will see that it's very important that you are clear and understood. And to do so, take your time and articulate. Your accent, a lot of you are very nervous about your accent. When I'm speaking in English myself, I have a French accent. It doesn't prevent me from communicating in another language. It's better to speak another language with an accent than not to speak any other language. That's what you should tell yourselves. Use a good intonation. If you have a good intonation, your speech, your oral preparation will be more authentic then. If you talk about something that you love, be a bit excited. If you talk about something you're disappointed with or you are hesitant, your tone should be a bit lower, okay? Same way that you speak naturally in life in English. So let's look at few points based on the pronunciation. The R. The R is difficult to pronounce for native English speakers, but make an effort. We don't want you to have a perfect R because you don't have it. Like I don't have the H myself as a French native speaker. That's just the way it is. But make an effort. C'est frère, rouge, rentrée. You should pause and repeat after me. Les liaisons basiques. Les liaisons basiques is what you have learned literally in first year. Les élèves. There is an S. So it's very important that you make the liaison here. Aux États-Unis. Mes amis. Nous avons. Les enfants. You see, les enfants, but do not pronounce the S at the end of the word, which is a plural. Okay? The next one, very important one, regarding your present tense that again you covered in first year. When you say il regarde, meaning they, plural, the ENT is silent. If you say il regarde, is watching or he watches, it is the same sound. So do not pronounce the ENT that marks the plural in the present tense. It's also very important that you make a distinction between je, I, and j'ai, I have. Gentil, for masculine and feminine is the same sound, same as famille, one of your topics. But if you want to talk about your city, your town, you pronounce ville, ville. The other one, il a, he has, and il est. Very important. So I'm going to repeat one more time. Je and j'ai, il a, il est, gentil for masculine or feminine, famille, but ville. You must pronounce the double L's here. And finally, the U. The U letter is difficult to pronounce, and U. So just show your examiner that you're making an effort. We don't want perfection here. Vous for you plural or you formal, and vu for seen. Tout, everything or all, and tu. So now we're going to have a look at the vocabulary. So the vocabulary is marked out of 20 points. As I said, it's very important that you show your examiner that you have a broad range of vocab, that you are not using the same adjectives, the same expressions every time. So let's have a look. Show the examiner that you understand the question easily, which means that you have a good vocab. Demonstrate a good broad range of vocab. Show them that your vocabulary is rich, that you are not using the same adjective, for example, to describe different family members. Show them that you are prepared. You don't just arrive on the day of the exam and literally not have an idea about what you're going to be talking. You know the topics and you have a good preparation about all the topics. Let's look at this sentence. Very important. So if you look at j'aimerais suivre une filière here in bold, which means I would like to do a course in commerce because it is a domain that I am interested with and there is a lot of hiring. This sentence will be much better for your marking than just saying je veux faire du commerce, c'est intéressant. It is interesting. You will show your examiner that you made an effort with the grammar because you're using a relative pronoun here, qui. You're using idioms, déboucher, and especially suivre une filière. Suivre une filière is an idiom. Remember that idioms are key for the French Living Cert exam. An idiom is an expression used by a native French speaker. That's the way for us as French people to say we are in college. We don't say un cours like you will do in secondary school. We would say une filière. You will only use the word filière if you go to university. Une filière instead of un cours, like I just said, and you will say un cours when you're in Living Cert, of course, but not in college. Il s'agit de, it is about, instead of c'est. Use associé à, lié à, instead of with, avec. It will make a difference in your vocab and you're going to show them that your vocab is broad and rich. Now we're going to have a look at the structure of the exam, which is literally your level of grammar and your tenses. Remember that the structure is marked out of 30 marks. So, basic tenses. Présent, that you've covered in first year. Passé composé, futur. You will get some extra point for the conditional tense, because you're going to talk about your plans for the future and obviously the subjunctive. Your examiner will ask you in purpose what are your pastimes, for example, in the present tense. What did you do last weekend in the passé composé? What's your plans for next year in the future tense? And what would you like to do if you get enough points? That's a basic question that you will have during your oral exam. So it's very important that you know how to answer those questions. Your examiner really will be checking your tenses when he or she will be asking you those questions. So basic order when you make a sentence, subject, verb, complement. Make a long sentence with a verb. Don't just give c'est, it is, or il y a, there is, they are. You can have an actual sentence. Watch out your gender, feminine and masculine in French, and your agreements with the plural. It's very important. And if you use a conditional tense, Don't use je voudrais. You learn je voudrais in third year. I would like or j'aimerais. Show the examiner that you know how to form the conditional tense, so conjugate those verbs. For example, je ferais, I would do. Je changerais, I would make. Je voyagerais, I would travel. Those verbs will be conjugated then in the conditional tense and it will look much, much better. The other point where you really want to be in the top level of the marking scheme, because remember the marking scheme in French, you have 3 categories, top, middle, and bottom. You want to use a bit of subjunctive if you can, okay? But don't use il faut que je fasse, I have to, because everyone uses this expression. So you want to be different. Use the subordinate kicker like we saw previously. C'est mon père qui me l'a donné. That's my dad who gave it to me. C'est mon ami qui me l'a dit here. Use a lot of idiom, like I said previously. It's very important. So remember, structure is 30 marks. Grammar, basic tenses, subordonné, qui me l'a donné. Very important grammatical points. Let's have a look at the communication, which is marked out of 30 points, and I think is the easiest part for the student because you just have to show your examiner that you are making an effort and you are willing to speak in French. So that's the first point that you will see in the marking scheme. Is the student willing to speak in French? Is he making an effort? Something very simple, but make eye contact. A lot of you will be nervous looking at your fingers, looking at your hands. Look at your examiner. If you're having a chat with a French person in France, you would look at the other person when you're talking, introducing yourself. So think about this context, this conversation when you have your oral exam. Lead your own oral exam. Remember that the examiner doesn't know you. So you can go there and be extremely prepared and know exactly what you want to talk about. The examiner won't have any question ready, is not allowed to have questions in front of them. So it's very important that you have an idea of what you want to talk about. The first answer the question the examiner asks you. If the examiner, let's say, asks you, do you like football? But you actually hate football, you are not sporty. You should say actually, oh, je ne suis pas sportif, I am not sportif, but I love music, I play guitar, and then develop on this topic. Be authentic, like I mentioned previously. Do not recite your oral. Be spontaneous. Don't make it too difficult for yourselves. Move on, change subjects if you find it a bit too difficult, and keep the conversation flowing. It's very important that you keep the conversation flowing and you try to enjoy it a little bit. So let's have a look now to finish at the key steps to follow to be prepared for the exam. So it's very important that every time you learn a new French word, take it down and think about idioms. That's a nice expression. I could use it for my oral exam. So have a little bank of new words to have a rich vocab. You could also record those words on your phone and listen to them to make sure that your pronunciation is correct. Listen to those words again and again. If you're walking, going for a jog, playing sport, on the bus, on the move, it's a good way to memorize and also to have the correct pronunciation. Finally, if you have a favorite TV series or show or whatever on Netflix, for example, watch it in French and put some English subtitles. When you're a bit more comfortable, watch it again, but with French subtitles. You could learn a lot of idioms that way. Make sure that you revise your basic tenses, such as le présent, passé composé, futur, futur simple, because you will be talking in the présent, passé composé, and futur for your exam. And finally, record yourself speaking French and listen to it. You could even do it looking at yourself in a mirror. And then you could check the pronunciation with your teacher or online. You can literally listen to any pronunciation, any language nowadays on internet. So that's it for today. Merci. And I'll see you during the last lesson. Merci, au revoir.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.